Another Wednesday night. Welcome to another Dream Whiskies live broadcast. It is 7 p.m. here in the UK on Wednesday, the 29th of April. Good to see you all. Good to see anyone who is going to be joining us this evening. We got a packed evening ahead for you. But before I start this evening, I just want to say a big thank you to a number of you. In fact, I want to say a big thank you to anyone that joined us on Sunday night. So Sunday night just gone, we did a broadcast where we were doing something for the 2.6 challenge, which was in aid of Parkinson's UK. So it was a charity event. And live, I mixed 26 cocktails inside 26 minutes while explaining exactly what I was doing. And a number of you tuned in. We've actually had nearly 4,000 views of that broadcast, which is by far the best one that we've done. And a number of you tuned in, so thank you very much for tuning in. A number of you donated to the cause, so thank you very much for that. And just a huge thank you for your support if you did in any form whatsoever, whether you tuned in or you shared the post or you liked the post or any of that. And actually, even if you didn't, the post is on our Dream Whiskies page, so you can go and watch it just for a bit of fun as well. But thank you very much for that. So before I tell you what we've got on the go this evening, let me say hello to a few of our regulars. So Barry is with us, not with us, as usual. Bruce, how are you doing? Bruce is saying hello to the whole team, which is rather nice. Thank you very much, Bruce. Already Richard Webster, and that's what we're going to call him while he's on here. How are you doing, Aaron? Paul Slade. Adrian and Kenny, good evening to you all. So, before we start, as ever, I'd like to get a drink on the go. Remember, get a drink on the go. Join me with a drink, preferably a whiskey, and tell me what it is. If it's not a whiskey, you can still tell me what it is, but preferably a whiskey. So, I had this on the go a few weeks ago. I'm going to go for it again this evening. So, I got a Balvenie 12 Double Wood, which I'm just going to pour myself a little shot. When I say little, it's all relative, really. And cheers to you all. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I'm going to tell you what we have lined up for you this evening. Cheers. Gorgeous. Right. So, first of all, as you know, we now have this regular interactive bit that we do towards the end of the broadcast called Mix With Me. I put out the ingredients for that a couple of days ago. So if you want to mix a cocktail with me tonight, you will need 4 ingredients. One of them is custard, and people are going, wow, really, custard in a cocktail? Yes, trust me, custard in a cocktail works beautifully. Now, it can be custard you made yourself, it can be instant custard, it can be ready-made custard, whatever it is. You need some custard. You need some pureed fruit. I'm going to tell you now, I'm using pureed peaches, but you can use pureed whatever you want. Whiskey, of course, and some orange juice. That's what we will need for our Mix With Me later on in the broadcast. What else we have coming up this evening? We've got 2 other cocktails, as ever, that I'm going to take you through. We've got what is now becoming our very popular feature, which is our Whiskey Geek of the Week quiz. So you can test your whiskey knowledge. Tonight, actually, is all about whiskey in movies. So we're going to be able to test your whiskey knowledge, and we're going to find out which one of you is going to become our Whiskey Geek of the Week for this week, and get your picture up on our Facebook page like our previous Whiskey Geeks have also done as well. What else have I got for you this evening? Obviously, usual thing, we've got our spot price towards the end. We've got our winners announcements coming up in a second, and a few other bits in terms of announcements for our members. But before we get to that, let's see if anyone else, Richie Ward, Barry's on coffee. Sharon, hi, Bruce. Bruce has got a peach Godfather. Wow, peach margarita mix in whiskey with amaretto. I'm getting to know that Bruce likes the amaretto. At least Bruce or Bruce's wife likes the amaretto. Paul Slade drinking Talisker Sky, going nice and peaty with us again, which is always good. Well, you got that. Richie's got just a cheap bottle of, what's that? Woodsman's Blended. You know what? I'm not even sure I know what that is, Rich. Bruce, I don't have any custard or any frozen custard to throw out, so I'll just be watching this time. Okay, that's cool. You can maybe pick it up next time around. Kieran, what have you got? Glenallachie Portwood finish. Very nice. Richie, no custard. All right, well, look, I'm going to tell you this. If you've got no custard but you still want to play, you can always put some cream in it. It's not going to taste the same, but at least you'll be able to produce a drink with me. And then you can always do the custard thing at another time, you know, at your leisure. So don't worry too much about the custard. Really, I was just thinking that if you have some of that hanging around, and some people do, then it would be an interesting thing to mess around with in terms of cocktails. Now look, for our Whiskey Geek of the Week quiz that we're going to run through this evening's broadcast, I'm going to give you 10 whiskies, and then I'm going to give you 10 movies as we go through the broadcast. And what you've got to do is you've got to assign the right whiskey to the right movie. So to make it easy for you, I'm going to read out the whiskies that I'm going to give you in just a second, but to make it easy for you, I've actually typed them and I put them in the comments as well. So you will see that in the comments, all those whiskies are there. But you're going to need a pen and paper if you want to take part in this little Whiskey Geek of the Week competition, this little quiz. So you're going to have to write something down anyway, so you might want to write these down. If I'm going to go through them really quickly, but if you don't get them, like I say, they're in the comments, so you can go back to the comments to pick them up. Here we go. So these are the 10 whiskies that we are going to reference and try and pair up with movies as we go through our Whiskey Geek of the Week quiz this evening. And they are 33-year-old Scotch, just that, 33-year-old Scotch, Jack Daniels, Old Forester Bourbon, Macallan 50-year-old, Suntory whiskey, Scotchy Scotch Scotch. I'll just say that one again. Scotchy Scotch Scotch. Not easy to say now I think about it. Glenfiddich 30-year-old, Balvenie 12-year-old, Bourbon, and 18-year-old Scotch. Okay? 10 different whiskies. I've typed them all out in my comment section, by the way, the bit at the top, not the stuff that you're writing in to talk to me. So you can always reference back. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give you 10 movies. You've got to pair them up with the movies. See how many we're going to get right. Going to pick our Whiskey Geek of the Week. Right, before we get into our first cocktail tonight, and by the way, cheers. I'm going to have another little slug of this. Let's see who else is this. Joanna, good to see you. Dave, what's that? Scapa Orcadium, very nice. Glyn Jones likes it peaty. Marcus, don't have any custard. But enjoying the broadcast. We'll be enjoying Jura later on, liking that. Gary, how you doing? Good to see you. We are all well indeed. Okay, so we have two winners for you. We have the winner of last week's spot prize competition, where we were giving away this. Let me just find it for you. We were giving away Michael Jackson's Malt Whiskey Companion. So we got the winner of that. Plus we have the winner of our weekly whiskey giveaway, where our winner picks their prize from our prize library of over 50 fabulous whiskies. So, first of all, the winner of the whiskey competition for last week, which ended at midnight last night. That was our week 12 competition. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but it is Gareth Viada Lloyd. I think that's how you pronounce it. Gareth Viada Lloyd. I've never actually seen you on here, so I don't think you join our broadcast, but you certainly play our competitions. And congratulations to you. I'll be sending you out an official email tomorrow. And the winner of our spot prize giveaway, and that's for the Michael Jackson's Whiskey Companion, the book that I just showed you, that is Kaz Bridges. Kaz Bridges, well done, congratulations. I'm actually not sure where either of you are. I think you could be UK, you might be US. I'm not sure where you are, but you are our winners from last week. This week's prize for our spot prize giveaway, which is going to happen towards the end again, are these. And these are, I don't know if you can pick up the picture properly, but these are whiskey, well, I say whiskey, but they're ice ball molds. I'm actually going to be using an ice ball this evening in our first cocktail, but these are ice ball molds. They're really handy if you like whiskey and you like ice and you like the temperature, but you don't want it to dilute. These balls look amazing in your glass. I should stop saying balls look amazing in your glass, but they do. And so it's a set of ice ball molds, and that's going to go out to this week's winner of our spot prize competition. Okay, so I'm going to get to our first cocktail in a second, but before I do, we're going to have the first three questions in our Whiskey Geek of the Week competition. So remember, the way it works is this. I'm going to give you an outline of a movie. You've got to make sure that you assign the right whiskey from that list of 10 And by the way, the list of 10, I'm going to say again, is in my description of this broadcast. You can find them all there. You've got to assign the right whiskey to the right movie. Before I do, anyone else talking to us, I really watch films, says Barry. Okay, you might want to go and cheat a little bit. Paul, evening. No mix along for me tonight. Only just got in from work and didn't get around to picking up the ingredients. That's okay, as long as you're with us, we don't mind. Jeff, how are you doing? Good to see you. Congrats to Gareth. Some people are saying, and Kaz. Bruce is saying, congrats to the whiskey winner because the name is difficult. Lots of congratulations going on there. Kaz is there and in the UK. Good, congratulations. I'll be in touch with you tomorrow officially about that, Kaz, but congratulations, well done. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Before we get into our first cocktail of the week, excuse me a second. Okay. Question number 1. The film is Skyfall. And of course, we know that James Bond is into his martinis. He's also into champagne. But he also has an appreciation for Scotch. And in this film, the baddie, played by Javier Bardem, the baddie was Silver. He offers him a drop of what whiskey? He knows it's Bond's favourite. Which whiskey does he offer Bond in Skyfall? That is question 1. You'll find the answer in the list of 10. You just got to pick the right whiskey. Question number 2. I think this is a slightly easier one for people if you, I don't know, watch movies or know this actor. But the film is Lost in Translation. Okay, question 2, Lost in Translation. Bill Murray plays Bob, who is a melancholic and sophisticated has-been. That's how he's described. So in this film, he's often seen drinking, but which whiskey is he drinking in this film? And to give you another clue, he's actually gone on to advertise this whiskey brand for many years since. They pay him a lot of money. I think they pay him about $2 million a year to advertise this whiskey. So that's number 2. Question 1 was Skyfall, which is the whiskey. Question 2, Lost in Translation. And the third movie, before we go into our first cocktail of the evening, is Inglourious Basterds. Like a wild film. If you've never seen that film, typical Tarantino, but wow, amazing film. So if you know it, I'm going to give you the scene. It's the scene which is in the tavern when the undercover Nazi hunters visit the tavern, and the whiskey is said to be fine stuff. So character, Lieutenant Archie, his cover is blown by the enemy. So he stands up very calmly, he lights a cigarette, and he says, there is a special rung in hell reserved for people who waste good scotch. Then he downs his scotch and starts blowing people away with the other hand. So, what was the scotch? They didn't say who wastes good scotch, but they were talking about a very specific whiskey. Which one from the list is it? So that's question 1, 2, and 3. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to go into our first cocktail of the evening. And actually, I've got a pretty cool one for you. It's a Manhattan, but it's not a Manhattan. It's a coffee infused Manhattan. So it is a classic whiskey cocktail with an infusion sort of slant on it. And this is how we started. So I'm going to show you. What I did was I took one of these little plastic containers. This is one of those sort of sealable Tupperware type boxes, but a very small one. And into it, I put some of this. And I did this yesterday, actually. So this is some Martini Sweet Vermouth. It doesn't have to be Martini, but it does have to be Sweet Vermouth. So I put in about sort of 50, 60, 70 mil. I just sort of splashed it in. I didn't really measure it, to be honest. And then I added to that some coffee beans. So I'm just going to see if you can see what we've got in here. Let me see. Let's take that away. So if I do that, wow, I'm not sure if you can see that. I tell you what, I'm going to try and tip the camera up. Can you see? So you've got coffee beans actually all floating around in that vermouth. And the vermouth has been there for, like I say, about 24 hours. The coffee aroma coming off of it is intense. So I've really infused that sweet vermouth with the coffee. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just very quickly separate the sweet vermouth from the coffee beans. So I'm going to just drop it through there, like so. I'm just going to pop those back in there and put them on the side. And so what I've got in here now, as you know, is some coffee-infused sweet vermouth. And now we're going to make our Manhattan. Now I'm going to put this Manhattan in a rocks glass. And you're going to see in a second why I'm using a rocks glass. I'm going to take my mixing glass. So we're not shaking this one, we're stirring it. And the Manhattan is one of those that actually you really do just want to stir rather than shake. If you shake a cocktail, you remember it really dilutes the ice and it puts probably too much water in a drink of this style. So I'm going to start by adding the coffee-infused sweet vermouth. And I'm going to put in exactly 25 ml to start with. It depends on how I feel, whether I add some more in terms of aroma. It might probably be just enough. And then I'm going to add some whiskey. So traditionally this would have been a rye whiskey. I would say most of the time you've got to go for American whiskey. Once you start using Scotch whiskey for this, it's not really a Manhattan. You start becoming a Rob Roy. So stick with the whiskey and we're putting twice as much in. So we've now got 50 ml of our American rye whiskey. We've got 25 ml of our coffee-infused sweet vermouth. And now I'm going to add some bitters. And traditionally, for a Manhattan, you would add Angostura bitters. But for this one, I'm going to add some cherry bitters. Because I want to try and pick up some more of that cherry flavor, especially now that we've infused the sweet vermouth with coffee. So I'm using Fee Brothers cherry bitters here. And I'm going to put in 2 or 3 good dashes. 1, 2, 3. Actually, let me just... Yeah, that's enough. The 3 is enough. I just wanted to check the aroma there. It gives me a really good sort of sense of how much is going in there. And now I'm going to blend everything together just by stirring. And you can see there's a real difference, isn't there? If I was shaking this, first of all, it would be making a lot of noise. The ice would be smashing against itself, turning ice into water, watering down the cocktail, which a number of cocktails really need. But things like martinis, Manhattans, old fashions, they don't really want that dilution, and that's why we're stirring it. So we're nicely stirred up. We've got it nice and cold. I need to get my strainer. Before I get my strainer, I'm going to add the ice. Now, you remember I said to you earlier that I'm going to be using an ice ball myself, and I have this on the go. So I'm putting a full ice ball into my glass, like so. I'm now going to strain our coffee-infused Manhattan over, like so. And we're going to bring that up the outside of the glass. This is looking very good. That's nice. I'm very pleased with that. And then we want to, we're going to garnish it. And I'm going to have a very particular garnish with that. Can you hear that noise, by the way? Which would be great if it disappeared. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's coming from somewhere. Oh, that's where it's coming from. Okay. Just by the way, can you tell me if you heard that noise? Did anyone hear that noise? It looks like nobody actually heard the noise. I've had an alarm going here. I had no idea where it was coming from. My wife, who many of you now know because she's been on this broadcast, is now completely obsessed with trying to sabotage me in one way or another. And I just didn't know where it's come from. I thought I'd left my phone somewhere, but it turns out that it was actually sitting here, right here, just out of shot, and I didn't realise that. Okay, before we go any further with this, first Marcus is with us. Hey, Bob, you're with us. Paul, some chat there. What's this? Sorry I'm late. Struggles. That's Steve Simpson. Bruce is chatting about Lefroy there, which is all good. Got the custard now, says Richie. All right, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we've got our Manhattan over our ball, as it were. I'm going to add a maraschino cherry because I just think from a colour perspective and aroma, we need that in there. And let's put that here, like so. Just going to sit that in next to the ice. But my actual garnish for this is slightly more creative, really. And bear in mind that I would normally do this in advance, but I wanted you to see what I was going to do. So I'm going to take some coffee. This is just freeze-dried instant coffee. I don't want fresh coffee. I just want granulated coffee, something that's going to break up really easy. And I'm going to put about a teaspoon, maybe more, into a pestle. And then I'm going to take some sugar, about the same amount of sugar, like so. Here we go. That's good. and then I am going to grind it all together. Now I know, by the way, at this point that my wife is watching this feeling really smug about the fact that she got me with the alarm. What I will have to say is that I spent about 15 minutes trying to look around the bar to find what she might have done beforehand. This is becoming a competition between her and me every week. And I'm losing, by the way. I'm not even going to tell you what she put on the bar last week. I'm delighted to say that most of you didn't see it. All right, so I've got this now. I've got this sort of mixture, which is now a powder, really, a coffee sugar powder. And I'm going to take an orange, and I'm going to take some of the peel from the orange as if I was making a twist, but a sort of long orange twist. I'm just going to take the skin right the way around. I don't know if you can see actually properly what I'm doing here, but I'm just going to take that off like so. And then I'm going to dip, so you see I've got a very large piece of orange peel. I'm going to dip the end of that, first of all, in our coffee infused sweet vermouth. And then I'm going to dip that end into this coffee and sugar mixture so that the end of our orange twist has got that sort of lovely coffee aroma. And by the way, it means that it's also something that you can either choose to eat if you like to sort of chow down on these sort of things, or just let it sit on the side of the glass, which is what I am going to do. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our first cocktail of the evening, and that is our coffee infused Manhattan, and it's a cracker. Now let me have a taste. Let me tell you what it's like. If you like Manhattans, it's a fabulous drink for you. If you like coffee, it's another fabulous drink for you. Actually, while we're talking about it, if you don't like coffee too much, I mean, if you hate it, it's not going to be for you, but if you don't like it too much, it's not overbearing. You've got the essence of coffee coming through, so you know there's coffee there, but it's not too much. It's a really successful drink, and I love this variation, and it's quite difficult to come up with decent variations on really classic cocktails. But I'm just going to put that there, because that's cocktail number one. And we're going to move on to the next question. Now, where are we? Let's move that up, 7582. Did you hear me say that? I've just actually given away the code to get into my iPad, which is, hey, I'm going to have to change that now. What am I looking for here? All right, not looking for anything. So, before we go on to our second cocktail of the evening, and remember we got our Mix It With Me cocktail coming up later on, we have question 4. So remember, you are trying to match those whiskies with the movies, and the fourth movie is Kingsman, The Golden Circle. So Kingsman, The Golden Circle. So a little bit of chat about Kingsman. So the statesmen are the American cousins of the Kingsmen and religious drinkers of this particular whiskey. There's also a huge product placement in this film, and they also released a limited edition bottling to go with the film. What was the whiskey that was in Kingsman, The Golden Circle? Question 5. Star Trek Beyond. All right, so Captain Kirk gets a Earthling birthday surprise when Dr. McCoy steals a bottle of whiskey from Chekhov's locker. Okay, so because Chekhov is Russian, everyone assumed that he would be into vodka, but it turns out that he's into whiskey, and what they find in his locker is a cracking whiskey. What was the whiskey in Star Trek Beyond? That was question 5. And question 6 of our 10 questions. The film is American Pie. So what it says here is, while apple pie gets more action in this teen comedy, one of the highlights of the movie involves a scene in which Stifler's mum enjoys a what? Okay, so Finch separates from the group at a party only to stumble into Mrs. Stifler, who offers him scotch and some attention. But which one was it? Which one was it from the list? You got to work it out yourself, and if you get enough of these questions right by the end, you are going to be our Whiskey Geek of the Week for this week. Vicky is saying, I would love to win. What would you love to win, Vicky? You want to win this whiskey thing or one of our whiskies? Who knows? George Shaw, yeah, it's been pinging for a while. Oh, you have heard it. So George heard it. That's going to make my wife even happier that someone heard that. Paul, I've heard these questions before. Were they used for the spot prize a few weeks ago? Only problem is I can't remember the answers. No, Paul, they weren't. I have told you about a couple of movies in the used for the spot prize a few weeks ago. I might have repeated one or two, but definitely not the lot. Sherry, this evening, how you doing, Sherry? Joe, sorry I'm late. That's okay, Joe from Lisbon. Really pleased that you are here. All right, so gonna go on to our second cocktail of the evening. Let me just put this down there. So this cocktail that I'm about to make for you is a cocktail which actually goes back quite a way for me. When I was a young bartender, and I worked in a bar in London called the Coconut Grove, which sounded so cool then. Now it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it was one of the cocktail bars, in one of the first real sort of American style, I would say, cocktail diner type bars to really hit London. It was around about the 1980s, so I'm giving you an idea of how old I am as well. We had a regular customer that came in who was a guy who was originally from Iraq, and his name was Kharash. Pretty sure that's how he pronounced it, because every time we got it wrong, he would say, no, it's Kharash, like this. So we came up with a cocktail for him, which we called the Kharash Attack. The Kharash Attack. But he didn't like our pronunciation of his name, so he anglified his own name. He called it Ratch. And so this drink, which comes from the 80s, when I was a bartender working in one of London's top cocktail bars at the time, and we created this drink, and it's called the Ratch Attack, and it's named after him. I don't even know where he is now. Long time ago, he might not even be with us these days, but hey, long time ago, to Ratch, coming up, this is how we make it. That's not how you make it. That's how you taste. By the way, remember, you've got to tell me what you're drinking. When do we give the answers? You give the answers at the end. No answers yet, please. Already, Richard Webster. Thank you very much. Cheryl saying Coconut Grove, showing your age. Yes, sadly. And Paul is just Paul saying not yet. Don't give the answers yet. All right, so here we go. It's a simple cocktail to make, but actually really quite delicious. And I'm going to put it into one of these. Now, these glasses have different names. For many people, this is an archetypal cocktail glass, isn't it? You know, that sort of hourglass shape. I've always called this a Poco Grande, and I think it's like the perfect, I don't know, pina colada glass, I reckon, really. So that's what we're going to put it into. You can see it's going to be quite a large glass. We're going to start with our whiskey, and let's just get those out of the way for a second. And I'm going to be putting in 50 ml of whiskey. So I'm going to be using the 50 ml side of our measure, and there we go, 50 ml of whiskey. Now the original version of this used peach schnapps, but I've used peach schnapps twice in the last 2 weeks, and so I wanted to give you the updated version of it, which instead of using peach schnapps uses this fabulously fruity liqueur called Passoa. Now if you don't know what Passoa is, go and buy yourself a bottle. This is a passion fruit liqueur. It is incredibly fruity. It's absolutely delicious. If you don't like sweet things, I'm going to say you will still like this. It is gorgeous. And it's got a rather nice colour to it as well. So I'm going 35 ml of Passoa in there. That's great. And you can see the colour already. Okay, good. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some juice to this. And the juice that we're going to add is cranberry in the first instance. So cranberry gives a fruity dryness. I know you will know what cranberry juice is, but it does give a really key dryness, which balances off the sweetness. And I'm going to put 45 ml. You're going to have to trust me that I've got this right with the 45 ml. So 45 ml of that, of cranberry. And then I'm going to add some orange juice. Orange and cranberry go absolutely beautifully together. And I'm going to put 65 ml of orange juice. So you can see I'm really bringing it up quite high. The colour is starting to drop back and look slightly more orange as well. And then finally, I'm going to put the first half of some syrup in there. So the syrup again adds more colour and sweetness and flavour. This is a raspberry flavoured syrup. If you don't have raspberry syrup, you can use grenadine, I guess. That would be okay. But raspberry is better if you can get it. There is a way to make it, and maybe one day I'll do a broadcast where I'm going to show you how you can make your own syrups and different flavours. but I'm putting in 10 to 15 mils. So there's not a huge amount of colour, but there is a good amount of flavour. Now, we're going to shake this. I'm going to add ice to the other half of my shaker, like so. We're going to pour this in, give it a tap, and give it a good shake. So, here we go. I want to make sure that it's well mixed, well chilled, and with a decent amount of froth on the top. And then we are going to pour. I'm going to pour straight into the glass. And I want the froth along with the ice to rise to the top, giving a gorgeous sort of frothy head to the drink, like so. Okay, we're looking good. You can see this is now starting to settle out and the froth comes towards the surface of the drink. Down here, we're going to keep it really simple. I've got an orange. Well, you know I've got an orange. So I'm just going to take a slice of orange and I'm going to just pop that in the top of the drink, like so. I'm going to let that sit over the side, just like that. And of course you would serve this with a straw as well, but I'm just going to let that sit there. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our Rash attack, or as we ended up calling it, the Ratch attack. There we go. That is cocktail number 2. In fact, let's get a straw in there. There we go. Let's get a straw in there, like so. And I think I'll just give this a taste to make sure it's still tasting as amazing as ever. And it's gorgeous. I mean, that's a real sort of Caribbean style drink. You know, it's the sort of thing that you'd have when you're on holiday, and then when you came back, you'd be trying to make it again because it reminds you of your holiday, and you wouldn't be able to make it as well, but hey, it's one of those sort of drinks. So 2 cocktails down, 1 to go, which of course is going to be our Mix With Me cocktail. Bob, what's going on? You're drinking Jack Daniels tonight, nothing fancy, drop of water. You know what, I love Jack. I probably drink more Jack Daniels than anything. I find that, you know, I'm not one of the people in the whiskey world that is precious about whiskey. I love pretty much all of it. But I find that people are full on one of 2 sides with Jack Daniels. They either feel that, you know, because it's so, what's the word, successful, let's say, because it's the biggest selling whiskey on the planet, that therefore, for some reason, it's not very good. But you know what, I love it. I love Jack Daniels. But I don't put water in mine. Ice occasionally, but no water. Bruce, that is a very nice cocktail. Tell me, spell it. What? The Ratch attack. So the Ratch attack is spelled R-A-T-C-H. Ratch. A bit like ratchet, but Ratch attack. Richie's saying, taste it before it's stolen. Yes. I'm surprised it's still there. I'm really surprised it's still there. Maybe it's too far on. If I put it here, like that, who knows whether that actually finds its way somewhere or another. Okay, right. No more comments? Okay, let's get back into the next part of our little competition. So we've had 6 questions from our Whiskey Geek of the Week going on, and I've got 2 more for you now. So you've had 6 films, and hopefully you have assigned 6 whiskies to those films. Here are 2 more films. Question 7, The Day After Tomorrow. Right, so this is a big disaster movie, The Day After Tomorrow. The scene is in a Scottish research facility in the middle of the world's worst ever ice storm. So one of the men in the group suggests trying to use whiskey to fuel the generator, which is dying. They've run out of fuel, so maybe we can put whiskey in it. But another member of the team doesn't take it so well. He says, "Are you mad?" He said. "Do you realise that that whiskey is a..." What is it? What is it? They end up drinking the whiskey. They do a toast to mankind. And I think one of them actually toasts Manchester United, which may necessarily mean much to you if you're not from the UK. But actually, I think everyone knows about Manchester United. But hey, there you go. Question 8. So film number 8 is Anchorman. Right? So Anchorman, Ron Burgundy, if you've never seen it, Anchorman, he loves whiskey. We're made aware of his passion very early in the film. He professes his absolute love for whiskey as the credits start rolling at the end of the news. He says, "I love What? He says, I love, here it goes, down, down into my belly. Mm-hmm. He puts it. But what is it he loves? Which one of the whiskies in my list does he love? So that's 8. There's 2 more to go. Don't share your answers with me. Thank you very much. I should have probably told you that before, but don't share them. Keep your answers to yourself, and then I'll tell you how that we're going to work that out. So, good job. We are now coming up to, I'm very pleased to say, although it does look like I'm the only one doing this tonight, because maybe I made the wrong decision by going for custard. But hey, at least you can watch me do it, and then you can give it a try later on. But you might be surprised. See, the thing about custard is it's the sort of thing that you make maybe at home for whatever to go with a dessert, and pretty much every time people make it, there's some over, which is left in the refrigerator and maybe goes off, or you never have it or whatever. So even if you don't make this cocktail with me now, you know that at some point in your future, there's going to be some custard cold in your fridge that you're trying to think of something to do with. You can make this drink. Now, before I do it, just in case any of you actually do this, please send me a photograph of what you do. Or if some of you are going to half do it, in other words, you're not going to put the custard in, but you're going to try and make it and maybe put some cream in or something like that instead, send me a photo of that as well. We have been putting your photos up on our Facebook page. They've been getting some good attention. By the way, I've got to say, last week's Whiskey Geek of the Week got, wow, I think he got about 45, 50 likes, loads of hits on his picture. So you were our most popular Whiskey Geek of the Week to that point, I have to say. But yeah, we're getting a load of hits, so take a photograph. Let me know what you're doing. This is called, and I love the name, this is called Custard's Last Stand. Don't you love that? Don't you love a pun? Custard's Last Stand. Get your stuff together. I'm just going to give you a minute or two while I just respond to a few of these comments here. But get your custard, get your fruit, get your orange juice, and get your whiskey. We are going to make our Custard's Last Stand. What's going on here? Jeff said, and the drink is gone. Yep, it's gone. Did you see it gone? Yeah, Paul saw it go. Barry noticed it. George, what's this? Well, Bal Blair 05 finished better at Talisker Sky. Wow, you're in that transition period right there, live. Transitioning from one whiskey to another, George. Glad we could join you with that. Trevor, good to see you. Glad you joined. Cheryl, it's really nice. They all know where it's going. What's this? Wow, for a second I actually thought it was going to be a picture of you, but kind of cute. Kind of cute. Bruce is going to send me a picture of his peach godfather. I'll go with that. I like pictures of drinks. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I should just say to you guys, send me pictures of your drinks. Actually, I'm not going to... Good idea, Bruce. If you're making my cocktail, send me that picture. If you're actually just having a drink and you're knocking something back with a bottle of whatever, whether it's your Bal Blair or it's your Talisker Sky, send me that picture as well. I want to get more of you guys up on the page. And by the way, ladies, I want more of you. Nearly all the pictures I put up are guys. So ladies as well, either your whiskey, or if you make your own cocktails or you're copying me, send me your pictures. By the way, messenger them to me. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make this cocktail. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I've fallen in love with this particular style of glass. And it's sort of kind of desserty, which sort of goes with the nature of the cocktail that I got here. By the way, another cheers. Every time I look down here, I'm thinking I should be having a little sip of this. Richie is ready. Good, here we go. Take your shaker. We're going to start with our shaker. And I'm actually going to get the custard in first. So let's get the custard, the sort of the messy bit, if you like, out the way. Now, the custard I've got here, and some of you know this about me. Many of you probably have heard this but forgotten, but nevertheless, some of you know this about me. So I don't eat lactose, doesn't agree with me. So I've actually even got a sort of non-lactose custard here. It's actually a soya custard. But if you're going for the real thing, like full-on cream and whatever, good job. But I've got about 50 ml of custard. And you can see, and probably different custard, different thickness. This isn't too thick. If you've made your own custard and you've let it chill in the fridge, then that's going to be really quite solid, isn't it? So, and that's great. That's absolutely fine. But this is a kind of pre-made one as well. So hey, soya, pre-made, but whatever custard, just pop it in there. 50 ml I've put in there, 50 ml. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add my pureed fruit. So I made some pureed peach the other day for the 26 cocktail challenge that I did on Sunday. By the way, if you still haven't seen it, there's a video of it on the Facebook page. Go and check it out. It's kind of mayhemic. It just gets crazy, really. But good fun, and we raised a lot of money, so it's good. And you can, you can just see 26 cocktails being made. This was left over from a Bellini. So I made this from a Bellini. We got some left over, so I'm going to use a fair bit of that. So this is a sort of blended peach puree. I'm just going to mix it in. And again, I've got, I would say, 65, maybe 70 ml of that. So now I'm just sort of bringing, and you don't have to stir this together because we're going to shake it, but I'm just sort of bringing it together. So I'm just bringing those two elements together. Now I'm going to add some orange juice, and this one I'm going to measure out. Let me just top that out. I want 50 ml of this, pretty much spot on. So let me measure that out. There we go. That's good. Now, by the way, if you're using different pureed fruit, that's fine. So the color's going to be different, but you know, stuff that goes well in this would be, I don't know, pureed mango or pureed pineapple or guava or any kind of berries, really, raspberries, blueberries, and whatever you want. But get it into a nice puree. And then, of course, there is one key ingredient that is missing from here right now, as we all know, and that is whiskey. And I want to get, I would normally put 50 ml in here, but I'm going to take it back a little bit because just thinking about how much custard I got in and the size of the glass. So I'm putting in 40. It might sound like barely any difference to you guys, but I think it's going to end up with just about the right amount in there. So you can see it's quite thick. We've got our 4 ingredients. These are mostly leftover ingredients. Apart from the whiskey, the leftover stuff that's going on here. So I'm going to take some ice, of course, put it in the other side of the shaker, tip all of this into there, give it a tap down, and we're going to give this custard's last stand. We're going to give this a good shake. Here we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's enough. Let's open that up. Take my strainer, because I want to hold the ice back, and let's strain into our glass. And you can see that it has a wonderful thickness to it. Wow, check that out. That almost looks like a dessert. Would you agree? Let's just pop that over there. Just going to bring that a little bit closer to you. So there are different ways to garnish this. In fact, you can garnish it pretty much whatever way you want. I'm actually going to just really simply, look, I'm going to try it 2 ways. One is like this. I've got a raspberry here. I'm not sure that it's thick enough to hold this, but let's see. Oh, it just holds it. Can you see that? The meniscus is just holding that. There is a chance that could drop through. If it's going to drop through, I would have put second raspberry on a cocktail pick and just popped it over the side. But if you're using a thicker custard as well, like something that has been sitting in the fridge and gone really hard, that will hold that really easily. But there we go. So our custards last stand, along with our coffee infused Manhattan, and of course the missing Ratch Attack, which is somewhere in the vicinity being looked after by Mike. Okay, so our 3 cocktails. Really interested to know whether any of you did that. What are you saying to me? Doing stuff. Cherries. Oh, cherries. Okay. Yeah. So dessert. I'll be trying what this one. A slice of banana. Bruce, honestly, everything you come up with is inspired. Sure, slice of banana. And if you're going to knock yourself out, why not? You can actually take all the ingredients that are in there, and instead of using pureed fruit like the peach, you can use some banana in there and blend that up. I mean, it's going to work brilliantly, is it not? I think. Well, Joe. Okay, liking that. Nice little on the go. What's going on? George is liking this. Nutmeg would be good as a garnish. Definitely nutmeg as well. Nutmeg, cinnamon perhaps, even chocolate powder. I mean, there's all sorts of things. You know, once you've got something that's sort of sweet and creamy, actually it doesn't reduce your options, it expands your options. That's what I love about messing around with cocktails and coming up with new recipes, is that there are no rules. You know, as long as you're brave enough to try stuff, you're going to find out loads of things go really well. Let's just have a little sip of this now. It's amazingly light, actually, I've got to tell you. You might look at it and think, wow, it's going to be quite a heavy drink. And maybe if you're going to put in loads of cream and banana and blend it up and use your old sort of solid, chilled custard from something you made last week, it's going to be heavier, maybe. But you'll be surprised, though, how like these things come out when you start to bring different ingredients together. You shake it up, you break it down. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And you would never know that you're drinking an alcoholic drink. You know there's whiskey in there, right? So my Balvenie is coming through, but you're not picking up the alcohol because all the flavors just blended it away. I mean, that's kind of the definition of a really well-balanced cocktail is the fact that it doesn't taste alcoholic. Unless, of course, you're drinking a Manhattan because you want that to taste alcoholic. But you know what I'm talking about. All right, so we're getting to the tail end of our Geek of the Week. I've got 2 more questions for you. Then I'm going to explain how we're going to judge the winners. Let's see how we go here. Any more comments? Oh, you stopped talking now. Okay, if you're going to stop talking to me, I'm going to carry on talking here. So I'm just going to put this over here where we can make sure that it's nice and safe. And we have question number 9. So as Paul Musson said, you might be right on this. You might have heard this one before, I don't know, but this is The Shining, okay, The Shining. And Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, he's sitting alone at the bar, and the bartender asks him what he wants, and he says, slip me a bottle of bourbon, and a glass and some ice. And what he gets, I'm not going to tell you, you've got to tell me. What does the bartender give to him? Okay, so that is question 9. And question 10, final one, final film. Let's see if you've got them all right. It's Some Like It Hot. Marilyn Monroe, of course, looking beautiful. Do you know the character she plays? That's not the question, by the way, but the character she plays, which is perfect, I guess, for us in the sort of whiskey, alcohol drinking world. Sugar Cane is her name. Anyway, she's ready to share a cheeky bottle of what with someone, okay? So she's going to share it with one of the guys who are cross-dressing and hiding as part of a sort of all-girl band. If you've seen the film, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The occasion is about to turn into a secret party, but they're surprised by her colleague, who then says, actually, I still have that bottle of vermouth. Maybe we can make up some Manhattans. But what is the bottle of whiskey that they had? They're sharing a cheeky bottle of what? Okay, so there you go. 10 movies, 10 whiskies. You should have assigned one of those 10 whiskies to each of the 10 movies that I gave you. And in a second, I'm going to give you the answers. But we're going to try something this week. I'm going to try it this week. If it doesn't work this week, I'm not going to do it again. We're going to go back to a previous one. But here we go. Kaz is saying sounds lovely. Paul says gone. Yeah, fair change. Nice swap of the drinks, Jeff. Yeah, this is. I can't tell you how good this was for me, because Cheryl had been doing this actually for weeks and weeks and weeks until one of you spotted her one week, and since then she hasn't been able to get away with it at all. Okay, so this is how we're going to do it. Previously, what I've done is I've asked you to take all your answers and then come up with a sort of keyword, and the first one that comes in, you're our Whiskey Geek of the Week. I'm going to try and trust you. I don't know how this is going to work, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the answers to each one of the questions. I want you to mark it, and I want you to tell me your score. That's how we're going to do it. I'm going to trial this. I don't know if I can trust you, because, you know, whiskey drinkers, can we be trusted? I think before I start drinking the whiskey, you can trust me, and then maybe, but we're going to find out if we're going to trust you. I will give you the 10 answers. Give me your score out of 10. If we end up with equal scores, I've got a tie-break question, which is very much about giving me the answer in the first one in. So let's see if you're trustworthy. Are you trustworthy? No one's saying anything. I mean, no one's saying, don't trust us. We drink whiskey. How can you trust us? Or no one's saying, of course you can trust us. We're all part of the global whiskey-loving family. Why would we do anything to cheat our fellow whiskey lovers? Nothing. You're just all quiet because you're thinking, right, how can I get one of these? David Rose is with us. Geek of the week. No. Quick. David, don't show the answers. I'm going to give the answers now. Here we go. Right, ignore David's answers. Mind you, you're not going to be able to cheat now because I think you're giving all your answers there. But anyway, here we go. I'll give you the answers. Give me your scores, everyone. I'm trusting you. First question was Skyfall. Skyfall was, as David has put, 50. That was the Macallan 50-year-old. 2. Lost in Translation. That was Suntory. Barry's still looking for answers 9 and 10. Okay. Well, look, you're all throwing them in there. I want you to mark your own because I can't possibly read all your different answers. You've got to be honest with me. Mark your own and then give me your score. Right? If this doesn't work out this week, we're going to go back to something less trusting in future weeks. So, right, first one. Question 1, Skyfall Macallan 50. Lost in Translation, that was question 2. Suntory whiskey. Question 3, Inglourious Bastards. That was the 33-year-old Scotch. They never said what it was. They just said it was a 33-year-old Scotch. Question 4 was this. I've had it for about 15 minutes. I like movies as well. Cool. You're all over it. Then you must have the whole lot. Well, who knows? We'll see in a second. Question 4, Kingsman, the Golden Circle. That was Old Forester Bourbon. Old Forester Bourbon, which, by the way, they did this sort of exclusive release afterwards. I mean, they just product placed like crazy through that. Question 5, Star Trek Beyond. What did they steal from Chekhov's locker? It wasn't vodka. It's actually a Glenfiddich 30-year-old. Glenfiddich 30. That was question 5. Question 6. Bruce is saying, got them. What's that? Richie Ward, that is gorgeous. Made with frozen dark fruits, but had to blend, not shake. Oh, that's the cocktail. Brilliant. Richie, make sure you send me a picture of that. And everybody else, just send me pictures of you with drinks, whiskey cocktails, whatever it is. Where was I? Question 6. Yes, American Pie. The movie was American Pie. I said Stifler's mum enjoys what? Well, specifically, she likes to enjoy an 18-year-old. And that's what she did. She offered him Scotch and some attention. The Scotch was 18-year-old Scotch. That's the answer to number 6. Question 7, The Day After Tomorrow. Disaster movie. They were going to pour this into the generator to kick it off, but no, they decided they couldn't because Balvenie 12. Balvenie 12. I don't know if it was the double wood. I guess it was. But that was The Day After Tomorrow, Balvenie 12. That's 7. How many of you got 7 out of 7 right now? Tonight's quiz whiskies. You're all putting your answers in. Maybe that's so that I can check you out, right? Question 8, Anchorman. Loving this one. Ron Burgundy. I love Scotch. I love Scotchy Scotch. That's what he says. Love that film. Love that scene. It's Scotchy Scotch. Somebody should release a whiskey, right, called Scotchy Scotch, if you can say it properly. Question 8, that was. Question 9, The Shining. You know what this is, right? This is Jack Daniels. He asks for bourbon. He's given a bottle of Jack Daniels. You don't actually see the label, I have to say, but it is just, obviously identifiable as a bottle of Jack. People who love Jack get all upset about the idea that he asked for bourbon, but Jack is a Tennessee whiskey. Hey, it's Jack Daniels. That's what we're looking for. And I have told you this before because about, 8-9 weeks ago, before we were locked down, I was away somewhere in a hotel and I did a broadcast from a hotel and I just had a bottle of Jack and we talked about Jack all night. And so you know this fact, but I'm going to tell you again, right? So, character, Jack Torrance, played by Jack Nicholson, drinking Jack Daniels, and his son's name in the film, Danny. Jack Daniels. Wow, spooky. That was question 9. Question 10, final one. Some Like It Hot. Marilyn Monroe. Beautiful as always. Playing the character Sugar Cane, and she had a cheeky bottle of bourbon. That was it, just bourbon. That's what we got. So those were the 10 whiskies that I gave you. Those are the 10 films. I guess down your answers here, but what I want you to do is tell me how many you got out of 10. I mean, this might be completely disastrous doing it this way, but I just know that we do this pub quiz every week online, and we would just mark our own stuff and put in our scores. And we thought, well, I think we're pretty honest about it. So I thought I'd try it with you guys and just see if it works with this Geek of the Week thing. But how are you doing? Bob's saying the answers are at the top. Yeah, the answers are at the top. Obviously, you just got to put them in the right order. My score is 0 as I was concentrating on the whiskey I'm drinking. George, nice one. I like to see you got your priorities absolutely right. Got all 10, maybe not. But I wouldn't trust it. Okay. Don't trust the my better half. Barry, I didn't find the last 2 answers. At least you're saying that you're looking at you put all your answers in there. We've got quite a few 10s. We've got 8 out of 10. In Skyfall, he also has a Macallan 18. David, you're showing that you have too much knowledge, for sure. Where are we here? What's here? Jack of all trades. Whoa! Loving that. Jack Daniel, Jack of all trades. We got 10 out. Right, okay. I had a feeling that we were going to get quite a few 10 out of 10. So I have a tie-break question. Only those of you that got 10 out of 10 are in the tie-break, okay? The first one to give me the correct answer for this tie-break is this week's Whiskey Geek of the Week, okay? Here we go. Tie-break question. When you take all 10 of the whiskies that I gave you for the 10 films and you total their ages, when added together, bearing in mind some of them don't have an age, what is the total? You total their ages of all 10 whiskies, of which some have no age at all, so that's a 0. Do they come to? What is the total of their ages? The person who gets the answer correct is our Whiskey Geek of the Week. Pride of place on our site. Loving this, actually. Whiskey Geek of the Week is proving more popular than Mix With Me. Any of you got answers? I suppose you got over this. Actually, I expected Paul Musson to have anticipated this because, honestly, Paul, you seem to anticipate everything that I do here. So before we've got our winner on this, I'm just going to give you a chance to answer and see how you do. Just to let you know that before we close down our broadcast, as ever, I've just got the very quick VIP spot prizes for you. So that's for Dream Whiskies members. You can play along, of course, if you're not a member. But, you know, even better than that, you should become a member. Oh, and by the way, a little shout out. So I've told members that we've worked out this 25% discount for you. So while you are a member, you can get 25% discount off of absolutely anything that Urban Bar sells. So that's the sponsor that's now sponsoring us. You know, like this whiskey decanter and some of our glasses and the cocktail equipment. Right, it's really cool stuff. And I got to tell you, the 25% very easily outweighs your sort of monthly subscription to Dream Whiskies. So even if you're not a member right now, you should sign up, especially if you're thinking of buying some cool stuff, because you're going to be getting some really decent discounts now. It's in the members section on the site. So there's actually a page now, members discounts. Go there, pick up the discount code. If you're not a member, you can't access it. It's sort of how it works. But hey, you can sign up. So let's see if we have any. Bob saying 158. No, it's 130, 122. 44. Cash Bridges. It is 143. Kaz is the first one to get the correct answer. It is 143. Now, I checked this a number of times to make sure that it's 143. But just so that we are clear, we've got 33-year-old Scotch, okay? We've got Macallan 50-year-old, so now that's 83. We had Glenfiddich 30-year-old, so now that is 113. We had Balvenie 12, So that becomes 125. And then we had 18-year-old Scotch, which makes it 143. Kaz, you've gone from being the winner of, I think, our spot prize to also being our Whiskey Geek of the Week. Kaz, what you need to do, and really quickly for me, is at the end of this broadcast, I need a picture of you with a glass of whiskey. Please send it to me as fast as you can on Messenger. I will put together the Whiskey Geek of the Week little frame and get you up on the Facebook page. So get that over, but congratulations. Paul only got 8. Don't qualify for time, fair enough. David actually came in with a 3 in the end. A number of, I tell you what, listen, you guys have got great knowledge about whiskey, but your maths is dreadful. So, which is good, right? Because I'd rather you know about whiskey than know how to add up. And that's why you're never quite sure how much you've had to drink. So, brilliant job. Fantastic. We're going to do very quickly the spot prize giveaway. Remember, if you're not a member, you can't enter the actual competition, but you can play for fun. Just don't put the answers down in here. So 4 questions for you. When this is over, go to our website where it says spot prize, and then you can put your answers in there. They're choice answers. So just click, 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 and enter. You know how it works. These are the 4 questions for tonight's spot prize giveaway. Question number 1. What did I infuse with coffee beans? So I used it in the coffee infused Manhattan, but what did I actually infuse with the coffee beans? That's question number 1. Question number 2. The cocktail Ratch Attack that I made, who was it named after? Okay, so when you go onto our website, you will have 3 options. You pick the person that it was named after. I told you all about him. Actually, I told you about him in some detail, didn't I? So who was that named after? That was question 2. Question 3. What flavor is Passoa liqueur? So I used Passoa liqueur in that Ratch Attack, which you see is now empty because somebody mysteriously drank that. Question is, what flavor is Passoa? And the 4th question, the final question for our VIP members spot prize giveaway is, what was the name of this week's Mix With Me cocktail? What was the name of it? So 4 questions really quickly once again. 1, what did I infuse with coffee beans? 2, who was the Ratch Attack named after? 3, what flavor is Passoa liqueur? And 4, what was the name of our Mix With Me cocktail? And if you are a member and you play this game for real, click on the link and go and put your in. David Rose is saying congrats to Kaz. Woohoo, girl power, well done Kaz. Barry, my maths is great. Excellent. Pleased to hear it. So look everybody, it's been another great week. I hope you're all surviving well with your various lockdowns in various places of the world, wherever you guys are. I hope you're all keeping well and you haven't got ill at all. But if you have, I hope you're recovering. And that you're staying sane as well. At some point, we're going to come out at the other end of this. But while this is all going on, I will continue to be here every Wednesday. So keep tuning in, keep being part of the fun, and we'll just try and keep our spirits up while all this sort of craziness is going on. So best to you all. Have a great week, and make sure you send me those photographs. Any photograph, you drinking whiskey, cocktails, whatever. I'm hoping to see more pictures of you guys this week. Keep well, good. See you next Wednesday.